Welcome, welcome, and rising. Good morning, and how y'all doing? Thank you for joining Transforming Love Community on this day, this beautiful, oh, it's spring, but it feels like summer. Yeah, we are anticipating summer breezes. Good morning, Audra. Good morning. Good morning, Fran and Joe. Grand rising to each and every one of you. I always say that you could be anywhere at this point in time that you chose to spend your Sunday morning with us, and we are so grateful and so happy to be here with you. I always say too that I like to thank a spirit by the name of Reverend Shaheerah Stevens, knowing that no matter where she is and no matter what she is doing, we know that the hand of God is upon her. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are going to be glad in it on purpose. Why can't we just be glad and happy on purpose? That's what we're going to do today. Be happy and glad on purpose. I'd like to thank you all for being here. I am so fortunate to be a part of a community who not only loves God, but expresses God in such a mighty way. And this Transforming Love community, we have so many things going on, and I would like to take time to tell you about one of them coming up on tomorrow called Soak Monday. All right, listen. This is a divine opportunity for you to spend time with us. We play music, all types of music. We played last weekend. We had the New Age Soak Monday. So please join us tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Chime in at 11:55 for the pre-soak moments, and we would be glad for you to join us. Absolutely. Our next Sunday. Oh no, listen, we are going to Unity Village. The people of African descent New Thought Group is sponsoring a weekend, and Transforming Love community is going to be in the house. As Beth always said, we have us a van coming, and we're just so excited about the events that are coming up. So please, if you are so inclined, join us on Thursday, August the 13th, Sunday, August the 16th. And we do have, I think, a few more seats in the van leaving from Detroit. So go to our website and look into the information so that whatever you decide to do, all the information is available for you. And then this month, we are living above the noise. It's a lot of noise, y'all. It's a lot of noise. Don't be discouraged about the things that you're hearing and the things that you are seeing. Don't be discouraged. See, we belong to a majority, because anytime God is in the midst, it is a majority. So this month, we are celebrating living above the noise. Next week, Reverend Shaheerah comes back, and then Reverend Spence, and then I will join you at the end of the month on that last Sunday. So please be encouraged and be reminded to live above the noise. Yes. And on next day, part 2 of our power is unstoppable. The manifestation keys for melanated people. It is for all people, as Reverend says, but it just seems that the melanated people are being attacked more. And you know why that is? Because the light, we are the light, and they are afraid. of the light. So, as I said, join us next Sunday for part 2 of our Power is Unstoppable, and it is. Believe it, and it is. All right? All right. Praise God. Yes, I get the distinct opportunity to present to some and introduce to others Reverend Nichole. We call her Reverend Nikki. However, Reverend Nichole is a child of God, a true, true believer of God principles, of the truth of who God is and who God is in her. She has been ordained as a ministerial counselor from Pathways of Light in the study of A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles. Reverend Nikki sits on the intersection of spiritual transformation, beauty, wellness, and wholeness. She's a licensed anesthetician. She is a spirit of light, and she is my friend. And I am so honored to have the duty today of introducing her to you all so that she can bring forth a word of awakening the beauty of our being, awakening the beauty of our being. So Reverend Nikki.
Hey, Danny, what up, though?
Grand rising and good morning to you.
Good morning,
I
Danny.
see her coming. There she is.
Okay. Am I with everyone?
You are here. We see your beautiful face. Yes. And we are awaiting this wonderful message that you have for us today. Reverend Nikki, everyone, please come, Reverend Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, TLC. Thank you, Danny, for that warm introduction. I so appreciate you. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, Rev, for this opportunity to share my light, my gifts, and spirit with everyone. I am so thrilled and excited to be here. I don't know if you heard me when I came in, but I said, what up, though? TLC, that is an enduring term here in Detroit when greeting community, friends, and family and coming into spaces with excitement. And that is what I'm doing, and that is what I'm here for today, is to bring the life force and the divine essence of who we are and shake some things up and awaken to it. I am so honored to sit in the midst of Rev's part 1 and part 2. Awake the power and our power in our manifestation. And so today's message, awakening to the beauty of our being. And see, I work in the field of beauty and wellness. And in the field, and coming into this field of beauty and wellness, it was nothing but an opportunity for me to align my mind in all ways, and my life in all ways, to my calling and my purpose, which is to hold space and create space for others to awaken to their beauty. And I'm knowing that the beauty that I'm speaking of and the beauty of this world, this beauty is the divine essence that is us. It's the energy that vibrates within us. It's the breath that moves us, right? It is this life force. It is the unseen that vibrates our beings, and the energy within us that never sleeps, that is forever ongoing. It is the life force of God. And so when we awaken to this life force within us, when we awaken to this truth, we are acknowledging the power that's within us. And then we begin to create a world. This is the first Sunday in June, and we know that June is the month of imagination. And imagination is clear vision. So as we're in this area of being able to call forth and declare and decree the things that we want to see in our life and speak down. My grandma used to sometimes say, you got to talk a thing down. So we are in this space and in this power where we can see our path and along our path be able to talk those things down that do not vibrate within this life force of life, of God itself, of our peace, of our happiness, of our joy, of everything that is our birthright to hold and to harness and to embrace. And that is also known as our freedom. See, we talk about melanated people and being in this skin, and we're understanding that we have been challenged with our freedom, but our freedom is our birthright. And that is because we are made in the image and likeness, and you can't hold, suppress, or in any way deny God and God's beings and God's extensions, any of the promises. So we're stepping into this and we're vibrating high this morning, and we're excited about this thing called life. And what I'm not remiss to is the fact that some of us are elevating real high right now, right? Some of us are saying, yes, I got it. And I'm seeing the promises and I'm flowing in, even in the midst of this chaos of the world, even in the midst of the mess, the ego's BS, the ego's belief systems that want to separate us. I'm seeing our wholeness. I'm seeing what you're saying, Reverend Nick, like, I got you. And some of us are saying, you know, yeah, I see what you're saying. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've manifested. However, this thing right here is just coming in a little bit bigger to me. I'm being challenged in this moment to see exactly how all these laws and all these principles are going to work in this right now moment. As every day it seems like it's something coming up. As every day it seems like, and it seems like. And then some of us are coming in here with hearts and minds heavy with the lesson that life has presented. We're heavy with this time and what we're seeing, and we may feel heavy because of the direct impact as we're seeing decreases and challenges to our households. And so I'm saying that no matter what degree, whatever spectrum that you may find yourself on in this moment, that God is in the midst in our being. And because of who and what we are, we just need to bring awareness to this. And you may say, okay, Nick, you're telling me that in all three of these stages and wherever I am in life, whatever we're encountering, you're telling me just to either know, even if I can't bring the energy, you ask me just to know. And I'm also saying, yes, just know. But we have to know and move with what? Within our whole mind. We have to move within wholeness. Like Danny said earlier, I am a teacher and a practitioner of A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles is a way and a tool for us to move from that space of feeling disconnected and questioning the hows and the whys to our knowing and being elevated and reassured in love in the promises like I've spoken of God. And in the course, it teaches that we are tethered to God forever within our minds. And our minds are our compass to see which aspect of ourselves are we allowing to teach us or to guide us, right? And that's when I'll say, bring up the scripture that is the inspiration for today's message, James 1 verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable. A double-minded man or woman is unstable in all their ways. There can be only one leader and one teacher in our lives. That's it. And so when I look at today and this being the inspiration, and I say that everything is within our mind, we're going to look at the idea of duality in contrast to the law of polarity. So for some of us, we'll say duality in the law of polarity. Well, I'm spirit and I'm human, so duality is my nature because, I'm experiencing both. And I'll say, well, to a degree that experience is true, but the spirit experience and the human experience is on the same spectrum, therefore, is two expressions of one thing. There's no duality. That's the law of polarity. To accept that, the law of duality will say that I'm human, I'm spirit, and I'm human, and try to separate the two, creating chaos and confusion. Because that's what duality does. Jay, let's look at duality, the slide for duality. Then we'll come back to the altar of God. Let's look at duality. So duality, for today's purposes, describes the split mind and says this or that, good or bad, me or you, spirit or matter, spirit or the body, God or creation, win or lose. This creates the idea of having to sacrifice one for the other. This says, duality says that there's no alignment between the two. There's separation between the two. So you know how sometimes we say, in the midst of all this chaos, I still got joy, especially being melanated. I still got my Black joy, even in the midst of this, even in the perceived attacks. I can be rooted and rested. That's not duality. Duality doesn't affirm truth even in the midst. Duality says, I'm either mad or happy. I can't be both at the same time. So duality presents us with separation. And so you say, so then let's look at polarity, Jay, and what the law of polarity says. The law of polarity is the spectrum of expression. Everything contains apparent opposites that are actually degrees of the same thing. The law of polarity says hot and cold are degrees of temperature. Light and dark are degrees of illumination. Fear and courage are degrees of the same life force being expressed differently. And scarcity and abundance are degrees of perception. Y'all with me? You understand the difference between the law of polarity and the idea of duality? The law of polarity says, yes, we will. There's the life, the plane of life has different spectrums of experiences, and we're going to experience them all at one time. That is what this lesson is. Then the law of duality says that we're separate, that there's separation, that there is no way possible that two things can happen at the same time. And that's for the purposes of today's lesson. But the beauty of it, the beauty of this is that when we rest in the law of polarity, when we accept that spectrum, when we go from the idea of duality to the law of polarity, we've activated one of our superpowers. And if you ask me what that superpower is, it's our imagination. That's the beauty. Our imagination is our superpower to move from the lack and the scarcity of a thing, the idea of separation, into our wholeness, our ability to see. And so our ability to see the beauty in all things, our ability to see God in the midst of the White House, our ability to see God in the midst of our government, our ability to see God in the midst of our community as mothers are being displaced from jobs, homes, as individuals are facing water scarcity, food scarcity, anything that can be imagined. What is the vision to carry me from this idea of duality and separation? Will these world and these challenges seem bigger, to my place of wholeness, where I'm resting in the polarity and understand that the lessons in life are my opportunity to anchor in and get closer with the beauty in this world and of what this life offers me. And I'm gonna go to the altar of God for that, right? And it's gonna take us right back to this one spot. Jay, the altar of God, please. So the altar of God is, guess where? In our mind. The altar of God is an inner altar, not an altar. The place in your mind that contains what you are devoted to, worship, and considered sacred. The altar is not a thing, it is a devotion, it is our practice. Now, I want to tell you, if I could give you any tools today for your devotion or your practice or what you're placing on your altar, the mind is the altar. That's what we're saying today. The mind represents the altar, not in your inner mind, your inner mind, your spirit self. That is our altar. And I know that sometimes in our homes, when we have our altars, we place things on top of it. And I'm going to ask that for the altar of your mind and for today's practice, that we have a blank space, that we see a clear space, nothing on it, just a feeling that we have the presence of God. And if I were to give you any tool to use every morning when you wake up, to place on your altar, to place within your mind every day that you wake up as a practice, is to wake up with intention to be your authentic, loving God self. To set an intention to rest in spirit daily. To set an intention to surrender the day to Holy Spirit to guide you, to show you, so that you can move along the polarity of this life plane with ease and with peace. You see, every morning that I wake up, I do not sit down and journal for 10 minutes. Some mornings it looks like that, some mornings it doesn't. Some mornings I wake up and I piddle around in silence. Some mornings I wake up and I have music playing to help uplift me. Some mornings I just lay in the bed and contemplate everything. And you want to know what? Sometimes I wake up and there's a lot of stuff on my altar I don't want on my altar. There's some things that's like in my mind that I need to remove from my mind, because it puts me in living in the past and not the now moment. So if there's any tool that I can give you today to set the tone on navigating this life plane and surfing the polarity, it would be to consciously set intention. And what does that do? It minds your mind. And what does minding your mind do? It keeps your vision and your hearing clear. Minding your mind also keeps the connection clear between your heart and your thoughts, so that you can see what it is that you are manifesting before you, so that you can get what you're feeling and get what you're thought. Because sometimes what we're feeling and what we're thinking are not in alignment. That's that separation and that duality. We want to come back to that space of being peace and calm. The Course in Miracles calls it neutral. And I know that in the world, especially in this time, it's like, you can't be neutral. However, when it comes to spirit and navigating the truth and our power and harnessing into that power that is within us, being neutral keeps you in a place of alignment, where the energy and our power vibrates and we're ascending. We're no longer just spinning as a top in one spot. We'll have this elevation and this ascension, and we'll find ourselves able to alchemize all situations on this life plane. I started my week off being reminded. We talk about how, and we mention the attack on our communities across the world. I was able to sit with one of our communities in a whole nother space. And they spoke of how their people were attacked by settlers. And while they were telling their story, it was the same. I was reminded of the same thing, our oneness. How no matter where we are in the world as community, we're standing in the same truth and elevating the same truth of our power, of our greatness, of our ingenuity, of the brilliance, both in mind and in body, both how we shine bright, both how we build nations, both how we are the beginners. And I sat there with them and how they and listen to how they preserve their culture through their art. Through their art. Prayer, meditation, that is the art of spirit at times. One of the forms of art of spirit. What is your meditation? What is your prayer? What is the art that you're putting into the world? What are the words that you are using as you create and connect the desires of your heart with vision? How are you using your imagination to get from a point of separation to a point of wholeness, to bring forth those things that you want in life? What are you believing for? So we sit, and I was sitting with them, and she told, the second day, they told a story. And they told a story on, and the young woman said, what do you do as a slave when someone comes for your child and you can't do anything about it and they take your child? What do you do? And so I'm gonna keep that going and say, what do you do when you see another person hurting and you are speaking up for them and you see no change? What do you do when you have taken another, what it appears to be a setback in life, and now you're wondering, how are you going to pay and how are you going to do? What do you do when it appears that after one loss and your heart begins to heal, here comes another loss and another loss, and you're asking yourself what to do with all these broken pieces? She said, fear, pain, grief is like an auntie coming to visit you that you do not want to see coming. She said, it's like, and no, she said, and you cannot tell them not to come. This auntie is part of you and it's coming no matter what. And you have to invite this auntie into your home. You have to greet her. She's family. She's part of you. You have to allow her to enter into your home. And so you allow her in, and it's uncomfortable and it doesn't feel well. So what do you do? What do you offer her? You offer her a glass of water. And that glass of water are your tears. And you give those tears back to her. And you send her on her way. You surrender it all to spirit. When auntie comes to visit, you surrendered it all to spirit and you go back into your power and your knowing. And you shift that. And you begin to, and she told this story right before she began to dance. And she did a dance of release. And so so I'm going to ask you that we're surrendering everything that keeps us, any thought that keeps us separate from our truth, from our power, from our ability to see clearly, to manifest the desires of our heart. We release all of that in this right now moment. And what is your dance moving forward? As you begin to tap dance through the summer, it's a beautiful day here in Michigan. I hope it's beautiful and the sun is shining bright right where you're at. As you begin to dance through the summer, as you begin to effortlessly go up and down or along, not up and down, along the scale of polarity of what this life has to bring us. What is your dance? What is the art that you're making? What is the story that you're telling? What is it that you are seeing? Ask yourself that this week. What art am I making for the world to see? What is the story that it tells? I am really, really blessed and grateful to have had that experience, because it also affirmed our wholeness in this world, this one mind, that we all operate under the one mind and within the one mind of God. That the strength that I see in one, I know resides within myself. And as I come to a closing, I just want to remind us that the kingdom of heaven is spirit's right whose beauty and dignity are far beyond doubt, beyond perception, and stand forever as the mark of God, your love for all of us are holy, whole, and worthy of it. The kingdom of heaven is our birthright. Our peace is our birthright. I said that earlier. Do not allow anything to disturb it. Wake up and set your intentions. Wake up with the knowing, with the understanding that God is in the midst. God is perfecting all that concerns us. If you have to choose right now between two things, if what your bank account says and what your responsibilities are, you have to choose between two things. Surrender it to spirit and ask spirit, what choice would you have me make with this resource here? And open your mind up to all the many, many, many resources within our community that will flood and come your way. Non-traditional ways and resources and solutions are here. We're in a time that we've never seen before, right? We're in a time that we never thought we would see what is happening. Well, that's when we do what we know how to do and we get creative. We do what we know how to do and we stand and we support and we continue on. And we support one another in rest and self-care. See, we know that we don't have to tire ourselves out to do. We do and we rest. And when we rest and we allow ourselves that time to rest and refuel, there is another person there. There's another team member there, another community there to pick up and continue on. And then when that person, it's time for that person to rest, it is continuous. Love flows. Love also rests. There is peace and there is action. There's a time for everything. I'm going to close with Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 8, and then verse 11. There is a season for everything and a time for every delight, an event or purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to transform and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to rest. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear apart and a time to sew together. A time to rest in silence and a time to speak. A time for war and a time for peace. Now, I'm going to say something about this. Trust. Trust when navigating the spectrum of polarity is a must. And trust is the first characteristic of God's teacher, as said in the Course in Miracles. And this last one, I was like, a time for war, because of the time we're in, I was like, what's something softer? And Spirit said, nope, you say what you say. Because sometimes that's what it feels like, even when we are having our own evolution or revolution within ourselves. It feels like a battle. That's the duality. It feels like a war within us. And sometimes that static has to occur for us to get that peace. And so, yes, even in that time, even in those moments, God, Spirit, Holy Spirit, our knowing, our knower, and our knowing, our understanding, the wisdom of the universe flows through us and is present. I thank you, TLC. I thank you and I appreciate you. Ecclesiastes closes with 11 says, He has made everything beautiful and appropriate in its own time. God is in the midst. Awaken and remember the beauty of His presence in all things. Clear your minds as you're surfing the spectrum of polarity of this life. And activate your superpower of imagination and see the way. See the way. Until you can see the way, you feel the way. You feel that joy and you be it. Transform, live life. I love y'all. Thank you so much for having me. And I know Reverend Danny's coming back. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us that our altar is not a thing, that it is our devotion. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Oh, thank you. Well, all of you who joined us this Sunday as we close, we want to be reminded of living above the noise. Please join us next Sunday as Rev continues our study, and go to our website. Everything that you see here on our broadcast is on our website. And thank you for supporting this ministry and all that you give and all that you do. And we're going to bless your offering right now. May the Lord continue to bless all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive.